Welcome to Outback Outdoors. Make sure you like, subscribe, and click the alert to stay up to date on all our new videos. Wyoming is a special place, and for us, a lot of times it's the start of our season here on the Split Rock, and so we have the opportunity to join in with good friends Justin and Shelly. We're gonna meet up with Q. Shelly's actually been on the show before. She's hunted with us here in Wyoming, and so she drew a tag again. And so Dustin has a tag, I have a tag. But there's a lot of special things that come with this, not just the hunting. It's more of the nostalgia and the collision of that with the history of the place we get to hunt. It's going to be a good kickoff to our season. We are here. I hope that dog doesn't bite me. If I get out and that dog comes running, I'm gonna jump right back in. All right, here we come.
It's like the nights in Salt Lake City where the snow fell down too soon. The people laughed and howled from their beers, but all I could see was you. And I remember our first night abroad, the sun traded shifts with the moon. There was a lot to take in for some eyes from East Texas, but all I could see was you. 'Cause all I ever see is you. I'll make my way to the doctor one day when my eyes don't work like they should. Just read the letters from large down to small, but all
The cool part about this ranch, I mean, it's been around for years and years and years. It was originally owned by a guy named Doc Baker, who was a huge cattle operation ranch, and then he sold the ranch to Dallas Horton, close friend or close guy to all of us in Colorado from CSU. It was a professor there, really known well for making a lot of the pharmaceuticals in the cattle industry. Did very, very well. And then there's been a lot of different things that have happened since then, but you've got the Oregon, the Mormon, the California, the Pony Express Trail that all run right through the middle of the ranch. So you can go clear back to the early days of settlers and immigrants coming through this country and traveling to Salt Lake City with hand carts and things, and walk right down those same paths that they did, carrying rawhide hand carts through this country, to the Pony Express. We've stopped at the Pony Express stations in a couple of different places and filmed different things over the years. And then, of course, we get the Mecca part of the hunting side of it. And we do all the farming on the ranch as well, so 640 acres of alfalfa through 4 different pivots that we manage and take care of and produce around 2,500 tons of hay off of it a year.
And this is a unique ecosystem, at least from what I have seen over the years. You have Green Mountain, phenomenal elk hunting across the highway. How far is Green Mountain from here?
16 altogether. To the top of Green Mountain would be 16 miles from the lodge.
And then you've got, of course, the Split Rock and all that, the whole rock mountains.
Rattlesnake Rock Mountains.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then Sage. It's like 3 different, maybe even 4, because you have the river bottom, you have the whitetails of the river bottom. All these ecosystems collide
in one spot. And that's what ends up being the coolest thing about this place, is because we have all of those different things meet in one area right here. And so the ranch is a 220,000 acre ranch. We focus on 19,000 of it. Is where we spend the majority of our time. And that's because 12 miles of the Sweetwater River, your rocks, your sage, your agriculture ground. You have 640 acres of alfalfa that makes up the only real ag source food plot system, whatever you want to call it, within 70 miles. You know, one of the things that we've tried to do for years on our side is promote and show what the American Serengeti really is.
Right.
And this place has it. It's the home on the range. It's
Right.
You think about it, that's where the song was written about, it sounds like, because of what all's here. But it gets to be a really tough picture to try to portray to everyone because there is so many animals. I mean, we literally, by the time rifle season rolls around in October, we're going to see 600 antelope. We'll see 200 head of mule deer, 200 whitetail, and 200 elk a day.
Yeah.
Wow.
If not more.
Welcome to today's Wasp Tech Talk. I'm Lane Walter, this is Trevon with Outback Outdoors, and today we're going to do an overview of tuning our arrows and broadheads for this upcoming season. Trevon, do you spin all your arrows?
Every one of them, Lane. I think it's very important and something that's often overlooked. Once I have my arrow built, whether it's a fixed blade, whether it's a mechanical, whether it's a field point, I'm gonna spin it up because what it's gonna show me is it's gonna show me any wobble or inconsistency in that end, and that could be in the components, the broadhead, the field point, whatever, or it could be in the arrow, the way it's cut off, something like that. It's gonna show me that because if I have that wobble, I'm not going to get that downrange consistent flight, and it's not going to be accurate.
I completely agree. For this and more helpful information, visit wasparchery.com and fling the sting.
All right, let's get our stuff, go get up there, get some glass on some country, make a plan, have a chance to kill a buck. Bunch of does. Imagine, for those people who haven't been here, imagine a sagebrush high desert. Mm-hmm. In the distance, you have Green Mountain, so of course it's a mountain.
Yeah.
And then you come over a sagebrush, rolling hills, and all of a sudden there's a river bottom with 4 big pivots of alfalfa. It's like the motherland, right? And so what we're doing is spotting deer coming to and from either the river, if they're a lot of times the whitetails they won't go 200 yards off
That's
the
right.
pivot alfalfa, where the mule deer might go 2 miles.
Right.
And so what we're trying to do is on the backside of the pivot, there's rock bluffs, huge rock bluffs. So, but these are fingers coming off, and then the sage, of course, right off of the pivot wraps around these fingers of rock. You're gonna find cedars, you're gonna find yuccas, cactus, cottonwoods in some of the draws. So it's a collision of 3 or 4 ecosystems.
Right.
Q let us know, hey, you've got 2 good mule deer bucks that had come into the field. I think you guys said, didn't they come right by where we parked the truck?
They did. They actually came towards the truck and kind of stood there a little bit spooked. They didn't blow out or do anything. They just kind of skirted around the truck like it was in their way.
Right. So then we figure out, look back, and they're on the edge of the field. And communication is extremely important, especially when you're hunting big country. And a lot of people see that where it's legal, we use 2-way radios.
Sure.
And a lot of it is, hey, come pick me up, whatever. But a lot of it is also, hey, you've got this situation happening. Let's go back this way. We're gonna need to close the distance. I have a feeling. further into this. Without getting buzzed. They're there. Come on. Where'd they go? Get up here. There it is. Yeah, got him. He's gonna walk that way. There's one right here. Come here. Dang it. And we made a play, and it got really close. 25 yards, I could have probably shot either one of them. And unfortunately, Garrett was running camera, and he didn't have the angle. And we do this for the adventure, for capturing the adventure, and so I didn't shoot. They weren't having a whole lot more of that, and they moved off.
Yeah, then they came to see us, which we got set up the way that we were set up for the whitetail, because that was pretty much the only way they could come through those rocks. And Justin moved. I was sitting there basically with my back to them, but a big rock between them and us, so they couldn't see me at all. And they came right up the path that those whitetail did. And there again, I think our wind swirled, because they stopped dead in their tracks before I even got eyes on them, and turned around and got out of there.
Yeah.
But we determined that those were the lucky bucks of the day, because I think pretty much everybody saw them. But
Oh, here comes one. Here comes the big one. I don't see a hole in either of them. This ought to be good. Tonight is what we like to refer to as an ambush night. And with ambush night, we're setting ourselves up we know the pattern of where these animals come into feed. And ideally just all natural. I've got a little hooey man saw. We're gonna cut ourselves out kind of a hidey hole in a cedar. And then, but we are also gonna plan on being, if we have to, stay mobile, because we're not exactly sure the exact point that these animals come out. And we'll be surrounded by some really tall sage, so we should be able to move laterally. And we have the wind, well, really good for this type of a play. So we'll see what happens. Where Garrett and I ended up getting set up, which was off of the other pivot back into the sage against the bluff, and it was a pinch point, and there was one big cedar tree, and so then the sage in this area it's probably 150 yards long by 40 yards deep, and the deer were all piled in there,
and
we
like
knew
6 foot tall.
Yeah, and it's like 6 foot tall, and we knew that if we could get in there, those deer were going to come back that same way, and we were going to be able to ambush them. But we knew we also had the ability to stay mobile through that sage that if we could see him far enough back coming in, we could move laterally. So we got in there, and then we realized how tall that sage was.
It's tall.
It's real tall. But I really couldn't see back in there. Well, I looked at that cedar, and it was probably 20 foot tall. So I took my little hooey man saw, and I went and I started creating a little path in there, and I got up to where I was about 8 foot tall. And then I cleared a few, not shooting lanes. I didn't have my bow. I wasn't going to try and shoot him out of there, but I wanted to get up there so I could see. So I get up in there and I get, seated, and I'm kind of sitting on a branch, and it's actually pretty comfortable. I'm leaning and I'm glassing. Here's a nice whitetail coming right at us. And I'm like, Garrett, let's go. So I scamper down. Being the small individual I am, it was pretty easy. It got down. We backed away and moved laterally. But the whitetail came through, and it was 75 yards, and it was walking. It was pretty intent on getting out to that alfalfa, and so I didn't even come to full draw. I just ranged, and it's too far, and we backed back up, and so we let it go on into the field.
Darn it, that was fun. That was fun. He's just too far. Let's get back in there and get set up. I think we can do that again. I think we are going to get better every time we do it.
Yesterday afternoon, we sat up on the rocks where the deer were coming through back into the pivots, and we figured there were 5, 8, or 9 bucks that probably were going to pass through there. And we pretty much immediately had deer in the sage behind us, so we were pretty excited that those deer might come up and over the rocks like they were supposed to. And nobody, not a lot of activity that early in the day, but they were up and around and they'd lay down. And so we watched them for a while. And there was some activity in the pivot that spooked a group of whitetail. And I kind of expected them to come up, so I stepped down a little ways behind a big rock. And luckily I caught movement and froze and just kind of looked down. About the time the first whitetail buck pops up from behind the rock at 10 yards maybe. And all 5 of those whitetail walked right past me at no less than 6 yards, just filed right past. Justin was up on the rock. It was just perfect. He was filming, and he was watching those deer file out. Well, he stopped that big buck just too soon. And I sat there at full draw, and as soon as that deer got a little antsy after being stopped, he turned and didn't really bust out of there, but when he turned, he was straight away from me. So
you had no shot.
I had no shot.
Set upon him like a plague from up above, like being lost out in the forest with a devil waking up. His dreams, he could see her and could not ignore her singing to his unborn son while he was off at war. She sang,
Where am I looking now? Down by the third. Are they in the alfalfa?
Almost. They're kind of where that island is in the middle of the river, straight out front. They're off to the left of that.
Where's my big 3-point? Is he to the left? Oh, I got him now. Okay, yeah, he just moved a little bit. Okay.
Education came from farming, so he signed to join the army. That boy could cut a hay field when he was only 5, and he spent his whole time.
Let's just drop our packs here, and we'll come back and get them. I don't know how far this buck is. He says he's just on the other side with some other deer toward the pivot. So we're gonna use the rise to hide us. Let's get up there and see if I can get eyes on him.
He remembers old Susanna, she was born in Louisiana. He kissed her on the riverboat, they fell in love that night. Education came from farming, so he signed to join the army. That boy could cut a hay field when he was only 5, and he spent his whole time seen as pain. Got a pistol, but the conscience of a saint. He remembers old Susanna, she waits in Louisiana. Be damned if they don't meet another night. He's gotta find the stay
Thank you.
alive.
Thank you for another great adventure here on the Split Rock.
Thanks for watching Outback Outdoors. We encourage you to comment below, and as always, like, subscribe, and click the alert to stay up to date on all our new videos.